Can I help you?
Damn, that felt good. Your heart's pounding nicely. You should tell people to fuck off more often.
Not as a general rule, but that one was justified. Better to get the lay of the land before telling people to fuck off.
That's the spirit. Never forget.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Reality? You mean...
She is like a student unexpectedly called upon by a teacher. Can she answer the classroom question?
I don't know. What about it? We're in Frit?
As mankind, or...
What will her essay prompt be?
In a good place.
I mean, science is doing great, and this radio computer thing seems to be kinda big. I don't know. Look at the clock. It's...
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands seem to be still. It's apparent the clock doesn't...
When ordinary people take over the government, and... Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry.
Our government?
Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article. A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
She scrunches up her face.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay? Wow. I didn't know you worked for the Union, sir. Anything else I can do for you?
No, you don't work for the Union. The Union blow the whole thing on speed and gin right now. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. There it is. A brave little army. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. What are you waiting for? Get a load of this rock and roll cop hair, people. Repercussions? It will help you concentrate a bit. It only lets you concentrate because you're in nicotine withdrawal. Blah, blah, blah. Boring. Light it up. Thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and...
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a cigarettes button. Cigarettes...
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. You have no clue. It's just a wall. So many walls all over Martinez. Weather-worn, cracked. This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. You try to be as silent as you can. Finally, the door unlocks with a small clack. Thoughts, good job. Let's go now. I'm sure there's nothing interesting in there. There might be important as you hold the open door. You can feel the air moving. A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned, a little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the there's something disdainful in the way the curves and lines of the body. It looks like the artist is celebrating diversity, but underneath, he's just making fun of these people. You ain't gonna change someone's mind by... The lieutenant picks up one of the mugs.
I'm beginning to feel better about breaking into this man's apartment.
Yes, your broken mug friend would feel very much at home here.
There's the missing tin soldier. Whoever lives here might have used the whirling, and now they've drawn the ire of the Union.
An interesting little clue. Perhaps you should break into apartment.
Who knows? I'm not expecting too much from this clothes in the trash lead either way. It might turn out to be some random local man.
You could ask Everard who this person is once you're done here. A row of mugs sits on the shelf. This is the flag of Revachol, the suzerainty. This isn't just one sun, but there are little suns dancing around the big sun. This is the sevenfold sun miracle. It's an optical atmospheric anomaly the first settlers saw. Happens in cold weather. 6 small suns around the big one. This complex halo phenomena is how old Revachol got its flag.
The tenant isn't...
By old-fashioned, he means very right-wing. The flag doesn't seem to mind. It's just a colorful fabric with a sun sewn onto it. A row of mugs sits on the shelf, each one The spread pattern of these bullet holes makes your chest ache. Your breath grows. More old bullet holes, half a century at least, from the revolution. You peer into the faded marks in the stone. They peer back like an endless row of tiny black holes. Your chest feels tight looking at them. It's closing in, caving in.
You okay there? Might be the after effects of your past escapades. What are you looking at? Remnants from the revolution. These are over half a century old. Perhaps a crime of a sort ages ago, but no, these do not warrant an investigation.
The lieutenant.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something.
Whoa. A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
True. They never cleaned up the war damage. The rest of Revachol looks better, though. The bridge is fine enough. Locals use it all the time, after all. It's nothing to worry.
Wow. So someone's been a little bored. Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown.
You? I wouldn't worry.
See? You're so regular and vinyl brown. He does. Of course you do. Maybe some regulations and a usual pistol to go with them. It's official. My lord's copper type is regular cop. Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class done and done. No actual community.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects...
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed. I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Good luck trying to use it. All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay. I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
I really didn't want to resort to this.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable.
I confiscated this for a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity. Yes, the Bird's Nest Roy, near the canal. We've been there.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners. The boomboxes on the shelf look well loved and well.
Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably a drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Why on earth? These are prescription. I can't really see without them. I'm not offended, officer. Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. Sure. Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks.
You have absolutely no idea what aphotic paths are, but the tattoos on the man are not that.
Another time, perhaps.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Well? Great, thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance. The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else?
This is the door to the room. You...
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the...
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something...
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not it. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough. And we have the body is still hanging from that tree, which is unfortunate. But we performed a thorough search of the premises of the crime scene. That's great. It's not my job to evaluate your methodology, officer. And we conducted an interview. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
He's not saying much on the matter because he thinks you could have gotten more out of Everard.
Claire also helped you, how should I say, Remember your name? That's a relief. That's normal. It's bet we tried to interview the weapons rep, but she asked us to do something for her first. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to.
If Kim is emphasizing something this much...
Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offense. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Revachol. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station closely. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power project. We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cut. Yes, the last time was 4 years ago. That's an improbability.
Of course you've killed people. It's somewhere down there, melting in all the drink.
Precinct 41 is known for a higher-than-average rate of police violence. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Silence. A great comment to such a conundrum.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly. This soldier is the highlight of it. An aerostatic passes overhead. The whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below. Kitsurag's glass.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the union, to the company. Not we run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization... Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes. The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. Okay. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it does... Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline.
Something kind, something almost, something ominous. Something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner.
What do they believe in? They are DeLoreans. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Then you will adore Martinez. For many of these people, the Union...
The lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses. The red and golden orbs of the motorway sliding like pearls on a string, from east to west.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This under your thrumming eyelids, you see a dizzying array of colors. You won't get off this. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case. Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. ask her. And then later in the streets, reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? Oh no, Funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Islas. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed. No, you haven't. You're just sleep-talking. And the act is wearing thin, too. The spots on the... You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in... Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours. Bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you, kid? Your mind is what now? I can't hear you. The rest is just a word dream. Jumbled up.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thought. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A sad time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday. Despite your debilitating, you got up from this floor because of a holy vow you made 16 years ago. With me. To wake up exact. Don't be silly. There was no vow. You were high on speed. That was the only reason you got up. You can't. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. Suit yourself. Slow, sad shell man. See? A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. The door is closed. Still nothing. You should punch a fucking hole in it. You slam your fist into the vinyl. It does. This door can only be opened with a key. Still, you should punch the murmur in your ears.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The Union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them. Continue with...
But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the...
Can I help you?
Just a moment. And there's no public...
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. The Union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. The manager was vague about it. To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, I was also hoping she...
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent.
But you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something in...
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying but they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps.
The waterlock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the waterlock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast...
This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extreme... Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoo...
It's a pseudoscience that...
That's one opinion, yes.
My apologies, ma'am.
It's not a hobby, dear. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless. And frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always...
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has...
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him. even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating, but I shouldn't bore you.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Of course, dear.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be...
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be...
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. And I don't.
Or he'll be disappointed. Ooh, tough choice there.
The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even... It was, reportedly, a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead, and a couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire...
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself.
Alas. Always, alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient? Sure, a perfectly good explanation. It dissolved in its own venom. Go on then. Ask about more.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
The lieutenant pauses. Something in him breaks.
Ah, fuck it. Let's have more cryptid.
Well, the smallest cryptid is the Cryobacter catlensis, a unicellular bacterium. The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for... That would be the giant of Coconur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Coconur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon, and the towering luminosity of Coconur is a bad omen in local folklore.
Hui. No animal can be that loud.
That's what makes it so peculiar. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can be.
Great. This is great shit. Gravity anomaly. Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Yes. It's the kind green ape. Half-wart. Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunker. Yes, it has amazing healing qualities. Some soldiers Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the which is to say the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor and that evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners.
The lieutenant looks at you.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to imply that Saelites are inferior to us in many ways.
A tremendous evolutionary advantage, I'm sure. But perhaps...
What an interesting question.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. It's name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is.
Coldamama Dakwa can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. There, although the low part is a little ironic, the Coldamama Dakwa.
Fine, I'll bite.
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And
Maybe it's predatory.
It's not. Don't worry.
I wouldn't be so sure. What if the damage is also invisible?
Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of aerial, when playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Coldamama Dakwa. After they grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they sequester, time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mama Dak. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm, they tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mama Daps.
They cancel each other out.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of it.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what? I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about